Good evening from the State of Kuwait. Welcome to the 7 o'clock news for Thursday, the 12th of March 2015. I am Dalia Badran with the headlines for tonight. His Highness the Emir will leave Kuwait tomorrow, Friday, for Egypt to chair Kuwait's delegation to the Economic Development Conference. His Highness the Prime Minister says protecting public wealth is a national duty that the Cabinet is very keen on carrying out. The Armenian Prime Minister and his accompanying delegation leave Kuwait following a two-day official visit. Iraqi government forces push into Tikrit on several fronts, forcing the so-called Islamic State militants to fall back to the city center. Hello and welcome. His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, and his accompanying official delegation are scheduled to leave Kuwait tomorrow, Friday, for the Arab Republic of Egypt to chair Kuwait's delegation to Egypt's Economic Development Conference due in Sharm el-Sheikh on March 13th. His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, sent a cable of congratulations to His Excellency, the President of Mauritius, Keitash Purayag, on the occasion of his country's National Day. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah sent a cable of congratulations to His Excellency, the President of Mauritius, on the occasion of his country's National Day. His Highness Sheikh Jaber Mubarak Al-Hamad Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister, also sent a similar cable. The National Assembly Speaker Marzouk Ali Al-Ghanem and today to meet today with the Speaker of the National Assembly of the Lao People's Democratic Republic, Pani Yatho, and her accompanying delegation currently visiting the country. During the meeting, both sides discussed bilateral relations and means of strengthening mutual cooperation in all domains. They also affirmed the importance of activating the role of ordinary friendship committees and stressed the significance of joint coordination between both parliaments with international forums. The National Assembly today held its regular session led by its Speaker Marzouk Ali Al-Ghanem. The session was mainly devoted to government departments' responses to the Audit Bureau's remarks on their performance and financial statements. The government pledged greater keenness on protecting public funds and deeper cooperation with the Bureau to perform the tasks as outlined by the Constitution and the law. Here is more to you on the session in this report by Salim Al-Kandari.
Led by the National Assembly Speaker, His Excellency Marzouk Ali Al-Ghanem, the Parliament held its regular session today, represented by both the executive and the constitutional powers, with a focus on government departments' responses to the Audit Bureau's remarks on their performance and financial statements. Minister of Finance Anas Al-Saleh today expressed satisfaction that today's Parliament session was devoted for listening to governmental departments' responses. Minister Al-Saleh pledged great keenness on protecting public funds and deeper cooperation with the Bureau to perform the task as outlined by the Constitution and the law. Al-Saleh discussed the issue of uncollected fees for the government, estimated at 1.8 billion Kuwaiti dinar. The minister added that he, along with the relevant officials, will forward clarifications about these funds. Collecting the unpaid dues has been tackled by the government, noting that a special team has been formed to work out a timetable and speed up payments. Minister Al-Saleh explained also that the disagreement had been resolved between the Public Authority for Social Security and the Audit Bureau. He indicated that the international consultancy houses had been tasked to assess auditing and supervision at the Social Authority and the Public Investment Authority. Regarding performance of government companies, he said that in light of the edit Berio's remarks, a panel had been formed to investigate performance of the National Offset Company. For his part, the PIA Managing Director Badr Saad said that most of the Berio's remarks were related to investments and a number of government authorities. It is normal that performance varies from department to another due to divergent investment objectives. He also branded as normal incurrence of losses. It is not sensible that thousands of investment portfolios post profits. Governor of the Central Bank, Mohammed Al-Hashil, also spoke during the session, touching on the issue of the Central Bank of Kuwait's new building, mentioning some technical issues with the construction. Overall, the session showed positive cooperation from both powers. From the National Assembly, this is Salim Kandiri reporting for the English News.
His Highness Sheikh Jaber Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister, and said protecting public fund is a national duty that the Cabinet is very keen on carrying out through proper means and legal channels. During a complementary session of the National Assembly regarding remarks by the Audit Bureau on the government performance, His Highness the Prime Minister welcomed the efforts aimed at keeping the spending of public wealth in check, noting that the Cabinet will abide by the instructions of His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah on fully cooperating with the Parliament in this speed. His Highness added that the Cabinet shoulders a great responsibility during the current historic phase witnessed by the country, a matter that requires adopting constructive and decisive procedures to achieve further security, stability, freedom, and justice in this beloved homeland. Sheikh Jaber Al-Mbarak then stressed the government's keenness on embodying the directives of His Highness Emir on achieving transparency within the government bodies and activating positive cooperation with the National Assembly. His Highness the Prime Minister and the legislative and executive authorities should work together to ensure transparency and protect public funds, as well as eliminating corruption via all possible means. Meanwhile, His Highness Sheikh Jaber Al-Mbarak clarified that during today's session, the Parliament exercised its constitutional right of monitoring mechanisms used by the Cabinet in protecting public fund, describing this move as a step forward towards accomplishing mutual cooperation between both authorities. He also hoped that the parliamentary practices will be exercised within the rules established by the Constitution and the Parliament's internal regulations. On the other hand, His Highness Sheikh Jaber Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Sabah welcomed the Audit Bureau's reports on spending public fund, stressing that any effort in such regard will be fully supported by the government. Deriving from his utmost confidence in these reports, His Highness the Prime Minister issued immediate directives to inspect and study all the bodies mentioned in the report and to adopt the necessary measures to resolve any deficiencies or violations stated in them. Within the same context, His Highness Sheikh Jaber Al-Mbarak confirmed that the Audit Bureau will always be a beacon of guidance and control due to its leading role in Kuwait's march for development. Finally, His Highness the Prime Minister said reforms need time to be implemented, adding that addressing problems and acts of corruption systematically will lead to solutions and progress. The Armenian Prime Minister Hovik Abrahamyan and his accompanying delegation left Kuwait today following a two-day official visit that came at the invitation of His Highness Sheikh Jaber Al-Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister. The Armenian delegation was seen off at Kuwait International Airport by the head of the accompanying mission of honor and advisor at His Highness the Premier's Diwan, Sheikh Dr. Salim Jaber Al-Ahmad Al-Sabah, and Kuwait's ambassador to Armenia, His Excellency Bassam Mohammed Al-Gabandi. The first Deputy Premier and Foreign Minister Sheikh Sabah Al-Khalid Al-Hamad Al-Sabah chaired the State of Kuwait's delegation to the 134th GCC ministerial meeting held in Riyadh today. The meeting discussed a number of issues related to the GCC joint work and tackled the latest regional and international developments, especially the situation in Yemen. Officials said Iraqi government forces are advancing into Tikrit on several fronts, forcing the so-called Islamic State militants to fall back to the city center. Soldiers and militiamen have reportedly retaken areas and key sites in the north, south and west, including a police headquarters and a hospital. One militia commander said 75% of the city was under government control. Some 23,000 personnel are believed to be involved in the operation to recapture Tikrit in the biggest offensive against the IS since the group captured large parts of the country last June. The battle for Tikrit appeared to be entering a critical phase today, with about 3,000 Iraqi army soldiers making a final push for the city, backed by 20,000 militiamen and a much smaller force of tribesmen. The United Nations and a global coalition of aid agencies have accused the international powers of failing the victims of the Syrian conflict. Stefan Diorech, a spokesman for the UN chief, said powerful nations had put their own interests ahead of the need to end the war. He said the UN still believed in bringing about a political solution to the conflict and called on the international community to unite. He was responding to a joint report from humanitarian agencies which criticized the UN Security Council. It said civilians had experienced their worst year since the conflict began. Israel launched the building process of an illegal new neighborhood in Efrat settlement south of Bethlehem. From Ramallah, Fatma Abdul Karim has more.
On the lands of Al-Khadr, south of Bethlehem, Israeli authorities started building new homes to be an expansion to the illegal Efrat settlement as an additional neighborhood under the name Givat Itam. The expectation is that the land leveling and settlement construction taking place now is going to be adjacent to Rukba neighborhood in the historic Palestinian village of Al-Khadr.
Efrat settlement is an expansionist project within the Gush Etzion settlement block. It includes hundreds or maybe thousands of housing units that pave the way for enlarging the settlement block and isolate Palestinian residents.
The new settlement neighborhood will be built on lands confiscated by Israeli authorities in 2011 from its original owners claiming it is state land. This step was denounced by Palestinians, but was not seen as a surprise, as it comes only 1 week ahead of Israeli general elections.
This step comes along previous statements on expanding settlements and land confiscations in process to build more settlements. This is what El Settlement Project is all about. It is the connecting of settlement blocks to Jerusalem, making East Jerusalem inaccessible.
The Palestinian Authority had said it is preparing to file a complaint to The Hague on Israel's settlement activity, which was denounced by world powers. According to researchers and experts, the consequences of this expansion and several others taking place in other locations in the West Bank will be the division of the West Bank cities into 3 main islands, isolated from one another, and therefore cutting off any chances for the establishment of a Palestinian state. Fatma Abdul Karim, State of Kuwait Television, Ramallah, Palestine.
Thank you, Fatma. The European Commission, or the EC, said talks between the Greek government and its creditors, which kick-started on Wednesday in Brussels, will be followed up by contacts in Athens during the rest of the week. The talks are to cement a series of reforms Athens must implement in order to get the remaining bailout funds released and avoid bankruptcy. The EC's chief spokesperson also said the Greek Prime Minister would meet with the head of the EC on Friday in Brussels. The official said this is a great opportunity for leaders to discuss the future of the Greek economy. And finally, tonight in business news, at the end of this week's trading at Kuwait Stock Exchange, the main indices closed with minor losses. KSX 15 recorded 1,082.34 points with a loss of 2.4 points, and the weighted index closed at 446 points, losing 0.1 points. The price index ended the trading at 6,514.34 points, going down by 5.91 points. For a chance to see our reports again, please visit our YouTube channel at MOI Kuwait News. Before we end, here is a quick reminder of today's headlines. His Highness the Emir will leave Kuwait tomorrow, Friday, for Egypt to chair Kuwait's delegation to the Economic Development Conference. His Highness the Prime Minister says protecting public wealth is a national duty that the Cabinet is very keen on carrying out. The Armenian Prime Minister and his accompanying delegation leave Kuwait following a two-day official visit. Iraqi government forces push into Tikrit on several fronts, forcing the so-called Islamic State militants to fall back to the city center.